There's a lot of people out there who hate Anthony Joshua. They hate Matchroom. They hate Eddie Hearn. They don't want to give Hearn or Matchroom any credit for anything they've ever done. But the reality is that Anthony Joshua and Matchroom have been carrying British boxing and their heavyweight division on their back for several years now. And when I say carrying it on their back, I'm not talking about necessarily the achievements, because AJ's achieved a lot, Matchroom's achieved a lot. But Tyson Fury was the one who went over to Germany and beat Vladimir Klitschko. And he was also the one who went to the United States and got a draw with Wilder, but a controversial draw, many feeling he won. So Tyson Fury's achieved a lot, but for whatever reason, whether it's because Fury's not with the right promoter, whether it's because he said very controversial things in the past, whether it's because he doesn't have a particularly exciting style, whatever the reason is, Tyson Fury has never enjoyed the mainstream popularity in the UK that Anthony Joshua has enjoyed. The Tyson Fury shows were just nowhere near as big events as the Anthony Joshua shows in the UK. And so the excitement that Anthony Joshua generated, the popularity that he had, encouraged more and more people to actually take an interest in the sport of boxing. That's a fact. Whether you like it or not, that's the fact of the matter. And not only that, but Anthony Joshua gave a platform to other fighters to step into the limelight. Yeah, he brought so many people through, and not just Matchroom fighters either. Because Anthony Joshua's success and popularity had a knock-on effect. Because he was so well known, anybody who he started beefing with, or anybody who started beefing with him, in truth, they would also get some popularity from it, as is the case with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, even Dillian Whyte, right? Dillian Whyte's whole career was springboarded off that fight with Anthony Joshua. So I say all that to say this. In the wake of Anthony Joshua's loss, there has been a very noticeable and tangible slump in the excitement levels for boxing in the UK. I'm definitely noticing it. And the reason being, Anthony Joshua, as I say, was carrying British boxing on his back to a large extent. And the majority of Anthony Joshua's fans, obviously not all Anthony Joshua fans, because Anthony Joshua does have some hardcore, people who are hardcore boxing fans who know their boxing, who are Anthony Joshua fans, definitely. But because he got so popular, the majority of his fans were just casuals. They were just general members of the public. A lot of women got on board and were big Anthony Joshua fans. And these kind of fans, these kind of super casuals, not just the regular casuals, but casual casuals, they tend to be fair weather fans. So when they saw Anthony Joshua lose, not only did they lose interest in Anthony Joshua, a lot of them, but a lot of them would have just turned away from boxing altogether. The energy in British boxing is just not the same now since Anthony Joshua lost. And I think that's going to have a knock-on effect, and it's going to hurt ticket sales for Dillian Whyte versus Rivas. It's going to hurt ticket sales for the Frank Warren show, headlined by Dubois versus Gorman. Not that that was going to sell out anyway, but I do think it would have done better if Anthony Joshua had done the business against Andy Ruiz first time around. So I think that the buzz in British boxing has really taken a hit. The popularity is taking a hit because a lot of the fair-weather fans are kind of disillusioned. And they're thinking, you know what, to hell with this boxing thing. If Anthony Joshua's not on top anymore, I'm not interested in boxing. That's how a lot of them are behaving now. And you can say what you want to say about them. Oh, we don't need them. But really, we actually do need them. Boxing needs casuals. You see, as a hardcore boxing fan, I always make this assertion time and time again, because in our community of, hardcore boxing fans, boxing nerds, there is this snobbish attitude towards casuals. And yeah, sometimes I'll laugh at stuff casuals say because, they're showing how naive they are and whatever. But I always come back to the same point. Without the casuals, Anthony Joshua wouldn't be making 20 million, 30 million a fight. And the knock-on effect to where Deontay Wilder's career has taken a boost because of his rivalry with Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury's career has taken a boost because of his rivalry with Anthony Joshua. So many other fighters, not just in the heavyweight division, in lower weight classes, who have fought on Anthony Joshua shows, their careers have taken a boost. And that's in thanks to the casual fan. The average Joe who tunes in to watch boxing only when AJ's fighting. Or occasionally, somebody associated with AJ like Dylan White or, some other matchroom fighter. When that fan decides to switch off and says, you know what, to hell with boxing, boxing in the UK is going to be in trouble. I'm telling you, we need the casual fans. Without the casual fans, these fighters can't make the kind of money they make. There won't be so many opportunities. We'll go back into the dark ages again in British boxing, where the best you're going to get is a prize fighter once every few weeks. No more big shows, no more big world title fights in the UK. Everything is going to be in the United States. Now, some people are blaming Eddie Hearn for focusing on the United States a bit too much. And that also is contributing to issues in the British boxing scene. And I agree with that to some extent, but I think the AJ loss to Ruiz is having a far bigger impact than Eddie Hearn, taking a few shows over to the United States. Because, as I say, there's still Dylan White fighting in the UK. Frank Warren shows are still happening at the O2 and whatnot. And I just feel like the buzz for British boxing would be a lot higher if AJ hadn't lost. So it is a blow, regardless if you're an AJ fan or not, if you're objective, you realize that this is a blow for just the British boxing scene, in terms of fan interest. We need the fair weather fans. We need them. Without them, everybody's pockets are going to be a little thinner. So, yeah, that's my take on the current situation with British boxing, the depression that a lot of the casual fans have gone into after AJ's loss to Ruiz. Now, obviously, when AJ fights Ruiz in the rematch, if they can manage to get it in the UK, which is looking kind of doubtful at the moment, but if they can manage to get it in the UK, that will do a lot to revitalize British boxing again. And if he was able to win, then there would be, more of a resurgence again, more of a revival. And I suspect that if Anthony Joshua does beat Ruiz in the rematch, he's going to be trying to fight in the UK for the foreseeable future, and he won't be traveling anywhere anytime soon. Especially if AJ has to go to the United States, manages to beat Ruiz in the States, I think he's going to set up shop in the UK and he's not going to travel. I think Eddie Hearn will insist. He'll persuade him and give him whatever bonuses he needs to give him to make sure that AJ stays put in the UK. And anybody who wants to do unifications with him, they have to come over here. I suspect that that's the way they're going to go about it. And that will help British boxing. But I still feel as though since AJ's bubble has been burst, and, this aura of invincibility that he had around him, I personally, I didn't think he had an aura of invincibility. That wasn't my perception. But in the perception of a lot of the casual fans, the majority of AJ fans, a lot of them felt like there was nobody out there that could beat him. Yeah, I saw this in my comment section of my videos on a regular basis. So now their world has been turned upside down and they realize that their guy is not invincible. Even if AJ beats Ruiz in the rematch, starts fighting in the UK again, as I mentioned in previous videos, I'm expecting his attendance figures to start going down, down, down. I mean, they were going down even prior to his loss to Andy Ruiz. But I'm expecting that trend to continue. They're gonna keep going down. The stadium fights might become a thing of the past. Because, I was saying that from the Takam fight. If you guys remember the post-fight video for the Takam fight, I was like, how long can he really keep doing this stadium thing for? Because to me, the whole stadium fight situation is a bit of a gimmick. Yeah? You can pull it off a couple times, but at the end of the day, if you're sat in the cheap seats at Wembley, you need a pair of binoculars to see what's going on in the ring. I know they've got big screens and stuff like that to watch it on a screen, but you didn't turn up to, pay whatever money, hundreds of pounds, to sit in Wembley and watch a screen. You could have watched the screen at home. So how many times can these people really, because there's only a certain amount of people that are actually going to go to a stadium fight or to any, Anthony Joshua fight. And there's only so many times that they can go to one of them shows, sitting in the cheap seats at Wembley or the Principality before the novelty wears off. The O2 is a much better arena. You're far more likely to get a decent view of the action in the O2 than you are at the Principality or at Wembley. So maybe that's where AJ's going to end up again. And I'm talking about even if he regains his title and continues his title reign, he might end up back at the O2 at some point. Yeah. I remember AJ saying that he'd like to fight at the O2 again, but the venue's just not big enough anymore. I know they've been talking about AJ fighting at Tottenham because Tottenham have got a new ground now. And maybe that'll happen. Maybe they'll try and switch up the energy a little bit because they've done the Principality, they've done Wembley. Maybe they'll do Tottenham. Obviously, Tottenham is, I was going to say a lot easier to get to for a lot of people, but Tottenham is a very, very densely populated area. When you go out to Wembley, the population density is nowhere near as high as it is in Tottenham. Getting to the new Tottenham Stadium is going to be a bit mad around there because it's already very, very densely populated urban area. So when obviously they have football matches there, so people manage to get there, no problem, obviously. But it's not quite as accessible as somewhere like Wembley, at least not to my knowledge anyway. And I've been around Tottenham, many, many times around there. And as I said in a video several weeks ago, there is now an opportunity for Tyson Fury to step up the mark and pick up the slack to fill in the void which has been left in the wake of Anthony Joshua's defeat to Ruiz. Tyson Fury right now should be fighting in the United Kingdom. This was a perfect opportunity for him. But I guess, his ESPN deal was already signed before AJ lost to Ruiz. It's a shame because this would have been a great time to strike while the iron is hot and do a big Tyson Fury fight in the summer in the UK and basically inherit a lot of Anthony Joshua's fans who kind of were disillusioned with AJ, who had their belief in him shattered. And they were wandering around like lost sheep. Tyson Fury could have been that messiah for them, But as I say, I guess the ESPN deal was signed before AJ lost to Ruiz. So Tyson Fury and Frank Warren missed out on an opportunity there, unfortunately. Because I do think that a big Tyson Fury show in the summer, in the wake of AJ's loss to Ruiz, would have helped to restore, the British pride among British boxing fans and just British sports fans in general. If Fury had played his cards right. Now, look, Fury's never going to be as popular as Joshua was at his peak because, it's not just about your boxing achievements. It's about how you conduct yourself in the mainstream media. It's about who promotes you. It's about the way you look. Let's be real. Tyson Fury is not going to have as many female fans as Anthony Joshua has. Okay? But Tyson Fury still could have used the current situation to his advantage and still gained a large amount of fans. Maybe not all of AJ's fans, but a large proportion. Yeah? So I do think that although British boxing will suffer, and I think is starting to suffer in the wake of Anthony Joshua losing to Ruiz, and I think it will suffer even more if AJ loses the Ruiz rematch. there is an opportunity, if Mr. Fury plays his cards right, to redress that, right? And to, boost British boxing up again a little bit by fighting in the UK, in meaningful fights. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about all the points I've raised in this video. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.